Welcome. So here's the thing. Our topic today is the hidden cost of being a strong Black woman and when survival becomes your identity. So I'm going to be sharing a very personal story. Um, it's heavy and it cost me something to tell this story, but I must tell this story. So this story begins with a deep and abiding friendship of someone I grew up with, someone who was a cousin by marriage. We went to the same schools and the same communities. Our parents knew each other. In 2016, she did what I think is her life's work. But before I get into her life's work, I want to tell you about where it began for her, where it began for me, and how I believe her survival was part of this identity, which I believe was stemmed from trauma. So I'm going to tell you about her great great grandfather, Anthony Crawford. I'm going to give you sort of a timeline of his life, and then I'll go back to my friend and our journey together. So her great great grandfather was Anthony P. Crawford. He was born in 1865 and he was lynched and murdered in 1916. He was born in slavery in January of that year, 1865, near Abbeville, South Carolina. Despite him being born enslaved, he became one of the most successful Black farmers and landowners in South Carolina after emancipation. He eventually owned 427 acres of land, built this thriving farming operation. He helped establish a school for Black children. He organized Black farmers to improve their economic opportunities. And he had some success in challenging the racial hierarchy of Jim Crow. On October 21st, in 1916, he took his wagon of cottonseed into town, into Abbeville, and a white merchant offered him a fee that was below what he was asking, right? They got into a back and forth. As it was told to me by Doria, Grandpa Crawford said, I'll throw these seeds in the Tallahatchie River before I sell them to you for less than what they're worth. And for that, he got put in jail. Supposedly for his protection. Later that evening, between 200 and 400 white members of the community, I'm going to call them a mob, they removed him from jail. They brutally dragged him through town. They hanged him. They shot him, right? They lynched him and would not allow the family to take the body down. The family then went to the authorities and they were told to leave. They were told to leave their home, to leave their land, to abandon their businesses. The property was lost. I believe it now belongs to a pharmaceutical company. And the family got displaced. I think out of all the things that I just said, I think that's the biggest loss, right? Some of them wound up in Chicago or outside of Chicago. Some of them wound up in Philadelphia, some in New York. So the lynching became not only a murder, but an act of racial terror. And this was designed to destroy Black wealth, Black leadership, and Black community. So now, fast forward, I'll tell you about my dear friend Doria. Again, we grew up together. I remember being at her home or at her grandfather's home. She had two brothers. Um, I remember some of y'all will know what this is, playing the dozens, and nobody could do it better than Doria and her two brothers. I visited her home many times where I loved her mother's cooking. Her mother used to make the best green beans with the little potatoes in them. I absolutely loved going to her house. I remember going into her house and seeing all of this beautiful Black art. And I asked her mother, I was like, why do you only have Black people on the walls? And she said, very matter of factly, because I see white people all day long and I don't want to come home to seeing that. And that was a profound memory um, for me, right? As a young child and as a young woman, and still today, um, that sticks with me. That sticks with me. Um, Dory and I were in and out of each other's lives forever. Again, she was one of my dearest friends, and she decided at some point in her life that she was going to begin. She was a scholar, and she was going to begin doing her research on her family history. So she took on this great challenge, and she was able to find out a lot of information about what happened to her family. She was able to publish many things. If you go out there and look for Doria D. Johnson or Anthony P. Crawford, you can delve more deeply into this story. But Doria made this task, this quest, her life's work, right? And I'm not saying that she was wrong for that. But what I observed was a lack of taking care of herself, right? She probably was not listening to her body. Um, I knew some things were going on with her health wise, but she was also a very private person. And so she didn't share a lot. In 2016, she went back home to Abbeville, South Carolina, after working with um, Equal Justice Initiative. Sorry, I lost my place again. This is really heavy on me today. I don't even think in my channel history or my channel's current history that I planned on telling this early in the game. But it was just on my heart and on my spirit to do so today. Because my topic was again the hidden cost of being a strong Black woman when survival becomes your identity. So if you stuck with me for this long, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, because I think I'm called to do this work, and I'm called to help us move beyond and to help us not make social justice our personal brand to the point that it begins to destroy us, right? So again, in 2016, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Anthony Crawford's lynching, Doria helped lead a commemorative event back on the land, back in Abbeville, South Carolina. And it included a dedication of an historical marker that recognized the lynching and its legacy, and that put Grandpa Crawford right in the center of town. The marker is actually right in front of the city building. And she said that whenever people came to do business in Abbeville, South Carolina, she wanted them to encounter Grandpa Crawford. So that was our goal. And she did an excellent job. It was a sojourn for a lot of us in the community where her family wound up being right outside of Chicago, actually in Evanston, Illinois. I remember a big bus from my church that took folks there. I actually drove down myself. I was asked to um, participate in the Freedom School that she had. She invited college students. There were members of Emmett Till's family there that presented. There were other organizations presenting. I think that's the first time I had heard, or not heard the term, but actually identified with the term of taking up space. Because during that Freedom School, there was a session on taking up space. The land was blessed. There was lots of sage going on during that time. And so I was asked to teach yoga at the beginning of the Freedom School, and I was honored to do so. The following day, there was the dedication of the marker, and Brian Stevenson was there, the civil rights attorney of Equal Justice Initiative. And so he spoke. Doria was there, and I was asked to praise dance to that. And so again, honored to be asked to do those things and to be with my friend as she did this great work. So I think what's also important to remember about this story is that Anthony Crawford's descendants inherited the trauma of displacement, loss, the need to remain vigilant in a society that had demonstrated just how quickly their safety could disappear. Doria was funny. She was provocative. I remember when she first started posting on social media, even beyond that, some of the things that she would say, speaking truth to power and just laying everything out there. Um, she was definitely ahead of her time. She was definitely ahead of her time. For today's Black woman, we often inherit expectations to be endlessly strong, to be dependable, to be self sacrificing, right? Again, not listening to the messages that the body is giving. Um, we create these patterns that can keep the nervous system in a chronic state of vigilance, right? It's important that I say that not every Black woman has the same experience, right? And some trauma responses are influenced by many other things, family, social factors, whatever their lived experiences are. But collectively, um, we need to recognize that we probably have that collective trauma that's passed down through the DNA. History lives in our nervous systems. It lives there. Today, I just wanted to come on to honor my friend, to honor that journey, and to keep the story of Grandpa Crawford and of my dear friend alive, because I think because she made this her mission, she made social justice and getting to the bottom. And I'm sure she couldn't stop, right? But she made it her brand. And I think ultimately, because she didn't take the time to listen to her body, um, I think she left this earth too early. But who am I? Everything probably happens for a reason. I'm not sure what that is. Today has been very emotional for me, and telling this is very emotional for me. So just keep in mind that we deserve rest, right? We deserve ease, even while we are doing what we're passionate about and perhaps what we're called to do. We have to take the time to allow ourselves to settle and to reset before we jump back out in there because we're constantly being hit, right? It's not like PTSD where there's one event for most Black people that live in this racialized society. It continues to hit us. And so we continue to have to take care of ourselves. The hidden cost of being a strong Black woman isn't simply exhaustion, it can be losing touch with our needs, our own bodies, and that capacity to rest. And if we don't begin to tune in, to tap in, and to take some time to listen to what's going on internally and block out all the other things, all the messages, I can't even watch the news anymore, y'all. I just I just can't do it. I take it in and it is just not healthy for me. I trust that what I'm supposed to know, I will find out, right? I will know what I'm supposed to know. I will do what I'm supposed to do. And I believe that this is part of my mission. This is part of my passion. And these are the gifts that I have been given that I'm trying to release into the world so that someone else can gain the benefits of the things that I have learned. So don't forget to remember what you already know. Your worth was never determined by how much you could carry. Take a deep breath in. Slowly release the breath. Allow your shoulders and your jaw to relax and take a moment for you. I'll see you again tomorrow, day 3.